Benavidez, Morrell, who wins?
It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight. 50-50 fight.
I think that it's going to be a war. In my eyes, I see it as a 50-50.
I think David Morrell may have needed, one or two more real tests before he really, build the resolve to be able to handle a guy with the ability, the power.
Several boxing pros have shared their predictions for the upcoming fight between David Benavidez and David Morrell, set to take place on Saturday, February 1st, at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Former world champion Shawn Porter is among those who favor Benavidez to win, giving him a slight edge over Morrell in their 12-round main event. Porter, like many other boxing experts, believes Benavidez has the advantage due to his greater experience in the professional boxing scene. While Morrell has an impressive record of 11 wins and no losses, he has not yet faced the same level of competition as Benavidez. Porter explained that experience matters a lot in boxing, especially in long, grueling fights, and Benavidez has already been tested against strong opponents. However, some doubts remain about Benavidez's recent performances. At 36, Demetrius Andrade was past his prime when Benavidez defeated him, and Caleb Plant had already lost to Canelo Alvarez before Benavidez beat him. Because of this, those victories do not add much to Benavidez's credibility in this particular matchup. In fact, they raise some concerns about his abilities at this stage. Benavidez also did not perform well in his fight against Oleksandr Gvozdyk last June. He struggled against the stronger fighter, got tired as the fight went on, and showed signs of weakness. Porter acknowledged that this fight is very close, but he still gives Benavidez a slight advantage, estimating his chances of winning at 55% compared to Morrell's 45%. He is very excited about the fight, calling it a David versus David showdown and expressing his appreciation for everything about the matchup. Porter pointed out that while both fighters are physically big, he believes Benavidez is naturally better suited for the 175-pound weight class. He also stressed that Benavidez's experience in handling pressure and adversity throughout a full 12-round fight could make a big difference. In contrast, Morrell has never faced such a challenge in the professional ring. His last opponent, Ados Yerbasinuli, provided a different kind of test, but it was not the same as dealing with the kind of resistance he will experience in a high-level 12-round fight against Benavidez.
That's 50-50 right there. If anything, 55-45 for Benavidez. I love David versus David. I love everything about the fight. The thing I feel that Benavidez has over Morrell is experience, is true strength. Both of those guys are big guys, but I think Benavidez is more of the natural 175-pounder.
Yeah, Morrell's such a high-level technical fighter, but Jose mentioned what you just mentioned. They feel like the experience is gonna eventually show through. I don't know. Take me into that. How experience can trump talent and technicality like that.
You know what? The thing that I know for this fight, when you are in a competitive fight that's gonna go 12 rounds, of course you're prepared for the 12.
As the highly anticipated light heavyweight fight between David Benavidez and David Morrell approaches on Saturday, February 1st, at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, many boxing experts and former champions have weighed in on the matchup. Among them, former world champion Shawn Porter has shared his thoughts, giving a slight edge to Benavidez, but acknowledging that Morrell presents a serious challenge. Porter pointed out that Morrell has not yet faced an opponent with the kind of relentless pressure and physicality that Benavidez brings. While Morrell performed well in his 175-pound debut against Ados Yerbasinuli on August 3, 2024, he was never forced onto the back foot in that fight. In contrast, Benavidez is expected to push him backward and apply constant pressure. One key difference between Yerbasinuli and Benavidez is their fighting style. Yerbasinuli may have more single-punch power than Benavidez, but he did not use volume punching to overwhelm Morrell. In contrast, Benavidez, often called the Mexican Monster, is known for his aggressive, high-output attack style. However, if Benavidez recklessly charges in, he risks walking into Morrell's sharp counterpunches or getting hurt by a well-placed body shot. Porter also noted that Benavidez's debut at 175 pounds was not impressive. In his fight against Oleksandr Gvozdyk on June 15, 2024, he started strong but faded in the later rounds. By the 12th round, he was exhausted and found himself in serious trouble when Gvozdyk landed heavy shots in the final 30 seconds of the fight. In those moments, Benavidez became a stationary target, absorbing a barrage of punishing punches from the Ukrainian fighter. Despite these concerns, Porter still believes Benavidez has the tools to match Morrell in both power and speed. He also pointed out that Benavidez has been in tough battles before, which will give him a mental edge over Morrell, who has never experienced the kind of resistance that comes with a long, grueling 12-round fight. However, some analysts question whether Benavidez can go toe-to-toe with Morrell without getting knocked down. While he has been able to trade punches with smaller 168-pound fighters in the past, those same tactics did not work against a bigger, stronger opponent like Gvozdyk. In that fight, Benavidez was rocked and later blamed his performance on an injured hand, an excuse many dismissed as damage control. One notable weakness in Benavidez's game is his vulnerability to body shots. His ability to absorb punches to the head is well known, as seen in his fight against Gvozdyk, where he took several clean shots and kept moving forward. However, his midsection has proven to be a weak spot, partly due to his fluctuating weight between fights. His love for food often leads to significant weight gain, which affects his conditioning. Fighters with a long torso and inconsistent weight management often struggle against opponents who target the body, and Morrell could exploit this weakness. When asked whether Benavidez could stop Morrell in 6 rounds, similar to his November 25, 2023 victory over Demetrius Andrade, Porter was uncertain. He speculated that if Benavidez were to win by stoppage, it would likely take around 8 to 9 rounds, since Morrell is bigger, taller, and younger than Andrade. While Morrell is the same height as Andrade, he is physically stronger and presents a much greater challenge. Porter described the fight as one that would have moments of intense resistance from both sides, making for an exciting and competitive showdown. However, he acknowledged that if Benavidez pushes too hard for a knockout, he could leave himself open to serious risks, either getting knocked out by Morrell or being systematically outboxed. Unlike his past opponents at 168 pounds, who were often older and past their prime, Morrell is a young, hungry fighter at the peak of his abilities. This fight will test whether Benavidez can truly compete at the elite level in the 175-pound division. Another boxing superstar, Canelo Alvarez, weighed in on the fight, but did not pick a clear winner. The bookmakers favor Benavidez, but Canelo sees it as a 50-50 matchup. Having previously been linked to both fighters, Canelo will be watching closely as they compete for the WBA regular and WBC interim belts. Benavidez, who has been chasing a fight with Canelo for years, moved up from super middleweight in June 2024 after failing to secure a fight with the undisputed 168-pound champion. He debuted at 175 pounds with a win over Gvozdyk, while Morrell marked his entry into the division with a points victory over Yerbasinuli in August 2024.
And man, how do you think Benavidez does your gym mate a week after you fight? How do you think that fight goes with Morrell, man?
I think David, he's looking very good. I've been in the gym with him for the past few weeks, and he's been looking great shape, doing some amazing things in the ring. Like always, David's a monster. So I think he'll take care of business February 1st. I think he might even get the stoppage against David Morrell.
David Benavidez has earned his nickname, the Mexican Monster, because of his relentless and aggressive fighting style. He is known for constantly pressuring his opponents with a high volume of punches and attacking from different angles. However, many people overlook another important part of his skill set, his defense. One fighter who has seen Benavidez's defensive abilities up close is Diego Pacheco, who sparred with him just 3 months ago. When asked about any underrated aspects of Benavidez's boxing skills, Pacheco's eyes lit up as he immediately pointed to Benavidez's defense. Many fans and analysts focus on Benavidez's offense because he is always moving forward and throwing punches. However, Pacheco explained that Benavidez is much better defensively than people realize. Even though he often stands upright in the ring, he has developed an excellent ability to avoid getting hit cleanly. According to Pacheco, one of Benavidez's best defensive moves is his ability to pull back from punches at just the right moment. Instead of absorbing the full impact of a shot, Benavidez leans back slightly, causing his opponent's punch to miss or land with less force. As soon as he avoids the punch, he quickly counters with his own powerful combinations, catching his opponent off guard. This skill allows Benavidez to stay aggressive while also keeping himself protected from unnecessary damage.
You can't take lightly, you know what I'm saying? He's a great fighter. He's up there for a reason, you know what I mean? One of the best Cubans out right now. So, yeah, it's going to be a great fight, you know, but I just feel like David is one of those guys too who's a monster and just doesn't let anyone take it from him, you know what I mean? And when he's in there, he's going in there for the kill. And, of course, you know, I feel like Morrell is maybe going to be his toughest opponent.
Diego Pacheco also spoke about David Benavidez's dedication to improving his skills. He emphasized that Benavidez is always looking for ways to get better, no matter how much success he has already achieved. During a conversation with Zuttel, Pacheco revealed that Benavidez takes his training very seriously and films everything he does in the gym. By recording his sessions, he is able to carefully analyze every detail of his performance. Benavidez doesn't just focus on big mistakes. He pays close attention to the smallest aspects of his technique, such as footwork, shoulder positioning, and subtle movements that can make a big difference in a fight. According to Pacheco, Benavidez spends a lot of time studying these recordings, looking for ways to improve and adjust his style. If he notices something that isn't working as well as it should, he immediately makes changes to correct it. This commitment to self-improvement is one of the reasons why Benavidez continues to perform at a high level against tough opponents. Pacheco also expressed his appreciation for Benavidez's willingness to share his knowledge. He explained that Benavidez constantly offered him tips and suggestions during their training sessions, pointing out small adjustments that could help him improve. Rather than keeping his insights to himself, Benavidez was always eager to help others grow as fighters. For Pacheco, this was a valuable experience. Training alongside someone as dedicated as Benavidez not only improved his skills, but also gave him a deeper understanding of how a top-level fighter approaches the sport. He admired Benavidez's attention to detail and his commitment to constantly learning and refining his abilities.
A really good jab. You know, he's a good fighter. He keeps his distance really well, so that I feel like he's gonna make it hard for David in the early rounds. But like we saw with Caleb Plant, you know, Caleb Plant was doing a great job boxing the first few rounds when he fought David, but then David just has that chip in his shoulder where he's just coming forward. Even on the clinches, he's still punching. You know, he's still getting punches in, and I feel like when you're boxing a guy like David and he just keeps coming forward no matter what you do, it just makes it hard mentally for you to keep that same game plan and stick to it, because we have a monster like him throwing big punches.
And it's going to be, I think Morrell's going to have to find that shot that really, you know, not only drops, but, you know, concuss. He got to knock David Benavidez out. And there's fighters you can make quit. I don't think neither one of these fighters you can make quit. Sometime you got to knock them out. And I think this is one of those type of fights where, you know, in order to secure victory, you know what I mean? In order to secure victory, one of these guys is going to have to end it with inside the distance. You know, and I think when you look at, you know, what they bring to the table, David Benavidez is going to have a little, you know, more gifted fighters that Benavidez has faced. I think David Morrell comes in with a lot of talent. And you got, you know, a guy that has a talent like both of these guys, and they rise to the occasion. It's the moment that really gets these guys up. And I think this is the type of fight that you can say is going to bring the best out of both of these guys.
With the highly anticipated showdown between David Benavidez and David Morrell fast approaching on Saturday, February 1st, boxing experts and former champions are sharing their predictions and analysis. Gabriel Rosado, a seasoned fighter, believes that Morrell's trash talk and relentless taunts have ignited a fire in Benavidez, making him more determined than ever, According to Rosado, Benavidez will enter the fight with a clear goal to overwhelm Morrell with non-stop punches and break him down for a knockout victory. He explained that Benavidez is not used to being disrespected by his opponents or labeled as a one-dimensional robotic fighter. However, the more technically skilled and refined Cuban fighter, Morrell, seems unimpressed by Benavidez's style, viewing it as predictable and overly reliant on size and pressure. For years, Benavidez dominated the 168-pound division, using his relentless pace and volume punching to overwhelm opponents. But now, at 175 pounds, he is facing his first true challenge in the form of Morrell, a skilled boxer with knockout power. Many analysts believe that Benavidez's first real test has come late in his 12-year career, and if he is not fully prepared, he could suffer his first professional loss on Saturday night. Despite recognizing the risks, Rosado still favors Benavidez to win. "I've known Benavidez for years, and I favor him in this fight," Rosado said in an interview with Fight Hub TV. However, he also warned that nobody should underestimate Morrell, as he has the tools to cause an upset. Interestingly, Rosado pointed out that this fight was not necessary for Benavidez, as he had other options. It was Morrell who needed this fight to boost his profile and prove himself against a top contender. Morrell hit the jackpot with this opportunity, Rosado said. ***, nobody was calling him out, so the fact that Benavidez accepted the challenge shows what kind of fighter he is. He said, "Come on, let's do this." However, Rosado did not mention that Benavidez had actually avoided Morrell's callouts for 2 years, dating back to 2022. Rosado also believes that Morrell's constant trash talk has awakened a different kind of beast in Benavidez. He explained that no one had ever talked about Benavidez in this way before, questioning his power, courage, and overall boxing ability. This has likely made Benavidez even more determined to prove his doubters wrong by putting on a dominant performance. Despite this, Rosado acknowledged that Morrell is no ordinary opponent. He expects the fight to be an intense back-and-forth battle where both fighters will land big shots. "I think Morrell is the bigger puncher, but Benavidez wins fights with volume. So it comes down to power versus volume, which one will be the deciding factor." Many experts, including Rosado, believe this fight may not be the all-out slugfest that some fans expect. That's because Morrell, as a Cuban fighter, brings a more tactical and defensive style to the ring. Unlike Benavidez's previous opponents, who often stood directly in front of him and absorbed his punches, Cuban fighters like Morrell are known for their movement, ring IQ, and ability to avoid unnecessary damage. This means Benavidez may struggle to land clean punches on Morrell, as he will be forced to fight more patiently and tactically, rather than relying on his usual strategy of overwhelming his opponent with punches. Rosado noted that Benavidez